Hey, Gully.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you. I've just recovered from food poisoning and I'm feeling a lot better.
Oh my goodness. Ugh. I had, I recently had a bout of something that I drank didn't agree with me because I drank too much of it.
What might help?
Yeah, so I had to deal with that a couple of weeks ago. Fortunately, over here we have both Lyft and Uber for car services. So when I found myself after the soccer match, just really in no condition to walk back to my car, much less drive myself home, I just got out my phone and I said, yeah, I'm calling Lyft.
I don't want to do any of this. Someone else is doing that. Hell no.
Exactly. Yeah. Just get me home in one piece and then I'll come back tomorrow and get my car.
Exactly. I get that. I've left my motorbike in some very suspicious places before when I've drank a bit too much. Like, I really need this, but at the same time, I'm not moving this. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. It's just too much can go wrong. Too many things can go wrong for you to make that kind of decision. So I was like, yeah, I'll just bite the bullet and pay what winds up for me being like maybe $30 for 2 round trips to get home and then get back the next day and get my car, instead of risking much worse outcomes.
Absolutely. It's a small price to pay, considering.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, Ivy, how are you doing?
I just woke up.
Well,
Yay.
welcome back to the land of the awake.
My everything is so damn sore. I fell down a flight of stairs today.
Oh no! Oh
It was
no!
wonderful. I was helping my mom with the double, like cleaning 2 houses today, and I thought my pants, like any of my pants, I can like bum scooch down one stair and then clean as I go because I didn't want to bend down. No, not with these new pants.
Uh-oh. Little bit slicker than you were expecting.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, hey, I am turning the music down. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Hey, Skylin. Great to have you with us this evening. I am DM Galabond, and it's Thursday night. It's 8 o'clock, and that means it must be time for the Sword Coast Chronicles. Tonight is session 50. A session that I would like to call Meet Otiluke and Tenser. Last time we saw our heroes, they were down on the 2nd level of the Amber Temple, and they were taking some time to wait while Van Richten was doing rituals. Each ritual is an hour long, and it is a ritual to resurrect the fabled Otiluke and the fabled Tenser, who apparently had clones of their remains squirreled away here in the Amber Temple that had been here ever since before the Circle of Eight was betrayed back in the world of Greyhawk. So the these great legendary wizards who traveled all across the planes of known existence had apparently been to this demi-plane of Barovia before, and or at least somehow had gotten their remains into two little squirreled away places that they had not been disturbed in all of this time. So, as this ritual happens, the party is realizing that it feels like, now that you're not fighting, now that you're not exploring, now that you're just sort of standing there waiting for time to pass, it feels like it's getting colder and colder and colder. And in fact, about the time that Van Richten is almost finished with the ritual to resurrect Otiluke, I'm going to need everybody to make a Constitution check, because we are in an environment that is cold enough that it may have some physical impact on the character. So everybody go ahead and make a Constitution check, if you will.
Out of character. Did this bastard did he know it was going to be super cold up here? He didn't tell us.
You mean Mordenkainen?
Yeah.
Well, as you've been watching him, he's been sort of just like every now and then he'll just sort of like rub his hands on his forearms into sleeves, and he'll like shake himself a little bit. So apparently he was not aware it was going to be quite this cold.
Okay, so I won't get.
So he's uncomfortable. He's not, just standing around looking at you guys wondering what's wrong with you. For once.
Constitution save, huh?
Hey, the time that we were there,
you are super robotic. You are super robotic, James.
Arigato, Mr. Roboto.
How did Adamant get into this game? What happened?
Is this better?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's better.
How's your kids' swimming practice, by the way?
Yeah, you'll hear swimming in the background.
Okay.
So I had done detect magic and was going to walk around the immediate area to see if I had detected anything, and then
that's right.
I had 10 minutes. I had 10 minutes of that, and
yeah. That goes off long before. And Mulek has experienced something like this before. When he finishes and the 10 minutes go off, it's just like the whole place lights up, and the magic auras are so bright it's kind of uncomfortable to his eyes.
Oh, really? The whole area, just similar to
the walls, the floors, the rooms, and it's like it would be really difficult to discern, or Mulek thinks it would be difficult to discern a magic item from the rest of the surrounding area. And what he gets is not that this is some sort of magical projection or magical realm or demi-realm, but he gets that there's such powerful magic that was used to create this place, and wards that just are used to simply hold the place together, that it's kind of overpowering.
Okay, and when that was done, then I would have done one more Find Familiar during that time to bring Casper back during that 2 hours.
All right. Okay, so Casper will be back, and I'll go ahead and I will bring Casper to the map, and boom, there he is. All right, now everybody can notice. Let's take a look. Okay, Mulek is fine. Krenraid, fine. Ivy, Ivy, you're fine. Falazure, you're fine. Des, you're fine. I guess we don't have Michael yet. Let me see. Did he send us? Did he tell us anything? Okay, I'm gonna just. Okay. You guys are all fine, but you realize that unless you either find some mundane or some magical way to keep warmer, that the longer you stay in here, the more likely you are to start suffering mechanical exhaustion from the fact that it's so cold down here. So basically, every hour you stay down here is going to require another Constitution check, and the DC for it gradually gets higher and higher and higher the longer you stay here. So you guys can be thinking about what you want to do about that. But while you are, before we get too far into this session, we want to go outside the Amber Temple, and we want to go to this little area that the party lately came through, where we find a figure. This figure is a tabaxi. And it's a tabaxi that, has been doing a lot of adventuring, and recently was hiding out in some woods in a mountain when a fog came up. And when the fog lifted and the sun rose, she realized she was outside of this crazy-looking temple. And she heard some noise and a disturbance, and so she hid, and she watched several rough-clad, berserker-looking folks being escorted out of the side of the temple by 2 or 3 familiar figures. And she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that these guys are here. But she waited until the berserker folks went off and disappeared off into the woods, and the friends that she knew had gone back inside. And Ivy, what does Belle do when she has gotten here?
After almost like chilling someplace where she wouldn't be hidden, she'll be making like those Google eyes with her paws and like looking to see if it's actually them. Like, what are the chances? And Bella like, stupid people, they got kicked out of their own home. Why these ones? She'll kind of like paw her own self and whatever. She'll kind of like skip along inside, just and going down and crouching and sneaking around just to make sure that she can't get any attention to her. And she's sniffing the air, kind of tracking a certain scent of someone or some people.
Okay. Yeah.
When she sees the dire wolf, she just shakes her head and is like, cats are bad anyway.
Yeah, there's a dire wolf that is dead in here, and then you notice these doors here are open, and there's some torches still in this room where you are, but it gets very dark beyond here. Now, I believe that Tabaxi have night vision. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, you'll be able to see a bit. You can see that there's, big stairs going down, but there's doors open at the far end of this area, and it looks like there's, reflective light that is sort of you can't directly see a light source, but you can see that somehow light is getting into that room from somewhere. You think maybe you're seeing a reflection of light bouncing into that room from somewhere else, but that's the only, when you get out onto this balcony, that's the only place you can see a light source. And since you notice those doors are open, it might be a good bet that your friends went that way. Does Belle have any kind of ability to do tracking or things like that? Or would she just go with what she presumes?
Go with what she presumes.
Okay.
But she would definitely be trying to use her nose to help her out.
Okay.
Like it's actually doing something more.
Okay. Yeah. You can actually get the impression that there are recent people have recently come this way. You can tell that. So, in fact, you might see where there are little ice crystals where people that have tracked snow in from outside, those footprints have frozen again, and you can follow those heading this direction.
Gally, just a heads up.
Huh?
Check Twitch chat, Gally, just 1 sec.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep. Thank you.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you, Commodore and Skylin. So we'll get everybody over to the correct screen. All right, so they can see what's going on. All right, so yeah, Belle, you can come on out into this area and come on over this way if you wish.
As she resumes, it's a big, huge opening because there's stairs going down and there's balcony thingy that she can see. She can't see the drop or anything, so she'll kind of like, okay, see, he died. I got this. And she'll kind of go down on her forehead and like pause, and then she'll kind of like scurry, like almost like a vacuum, just scurry across.
Okay.
Over to the other side.
Okay. And when you get over to the other side and you get into this area, you will see that indeed there's evidence of a very recent fight. You see some shattered fragments of skulls that are around a large hole. And you can see maybe some evidence where maybe some clothing got burned near the doors here, and there's little singes of clothing down on the floor. And the reflection of light that you can see is coming up through this hole, and you'll notice that there is a piton driven into the floor, and a rope is hanging down to the lower level. And as you get closer to this hole, you will actually hear the murmur of voices. And I think your friends are probably being a little bit quiet, so you may not be able to hear between the fact they're talking softly and the fact that everything is echoing around. You may not be able to hear what they're saying, but you definitely, hey, that sounds like that might be Faldor. That sounds like that might be Mulek. And is that sort of nasally twang? Is that Falazure? Might be. Might not be. Yeah, I think so. So it gives you an idea that they may be down that way. So would Belle go ahead and would she investigate that hole, or would she just shimmy down the rope, or what would she do?
Belle thinks about going down the rope and like actually seeing how sturdy it is, she'll go up to the skulls, the broken skulls, and she'll kind of sweep them all into a pile and have them in her hands as she kind of looks down the hole and says, "Heroes nothing." She kind of like clamps onto it with her nails and then like hangs upside down so she keeps the skull fragments in her hands, and she kind of tries and whittles down the rope.
Okay.
Out of any fashion sense.
Okay. Would you be trying to do that with the skull fragments in your hand, or would you put those skull fragments in a sack or something that you have?
I know, in her hand.
Okay. In that case, go ahead and give me an acrobatics check, if you will, please.
Well, that is a great roll tonight.
Okay. Well, you see that the rope dangles down about 20 feet, and the first 10 feet of it goes through the solid stone of the floor here, and then it opens up into a chamber below. And you get down to about the second half, and then suddenly you realize there's a bit of somebody's hands must have been sweaty as they were climbing down, and there's a bit of ice now on the rope. And because you're only using two of your extremities and not hanging on with all four, you slip and you fall 10 feet, and you will take 3 points of bludgeoning damage from falling onto the floor. And also, I need to roll and see. Yeah.
Hey, Belle might be smart, but she's a clumsy cat.
Yeah. Okay. So now let me see here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come over here to this map, and I'm going to say that when you fall, you wind up rolling right up next to a large and strange amber sarcophagus that is in this room. Furthermore, and more specifically, you roll next to the one that is in. Okay, that is in the western alcove here. So let's see. As you roll up against this sarcophagus, you get a sense of some sort of intelligence. And this intelligence sort of reaches out to you from that sarcophagus. Accept my gift. Spread my gift. Offer my gift. Take my gift.
Her ears will kind of perk up and then go down, and as her eyes kind of stare and say, "I don't accept things from strangers. What's your name?" And she'll kind of take a step back.
Okay, as soon as you take a step back and you're no longer touching it, the sense of the presence goes away.
Oh, well, you seem friendly. Anyway, she'll kind of go back to trying to find all the skull pieces that probably dropped. And she'll pick them up and put them in a pile again.
Okay, all right. So now, I need to make another roll over here on this. Okay. The rest of you guys, I want to look and check something on your character sheets. Check something about your. Okay, not you. I think maybe one of you at least does.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking. Oh, whoops. I'm looking to see a score. Oh no. Okay, not you.
Probably passive perception.
I would imagine it's passive perception. I don't
Oh,
know.
no.
Yes. It
116.
probably is.
Jess has 18.
Okay. Krenraid, your character sheet shows 14. So if you think you have a different number,
Hold on, let me check that.
Then let's see. Come on.
Yeah, some of us put our passive perception on our character icons on the screen. That's what the PEP stands for.
Yeah. Okay.
That shouldn't be 14. That's actually 16. I don't know when it's
Okay. Yeah, it does. It does those automatic calculations. So there's probably something somewhere that
there's a setting I've messed with. There must be.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So indeed, Krenraid and Dez. The doors there are open, but you hear a soft thud that comes from down the hall. Sounds like the direction that you guys came from. Falazure doesn't seem to have heard it, and Mulik doesn't seem to have heard it.
With a passive 16? Standing outside the door?
No. Well, first of all, you don't have it listed on your Roll20 icon, and second of all, that's not what it says on your character sheet. So,
what on my D&D Beyond?
I
use D&D Beyond, but I'll go ahead and.
Okay, yeah. I'm just looking at everybody's Roll20. You have a DC or a passive perception of 10 on your Roll20 sheet.
No, I don't use my Roll20 sheet.
Okay.
Falazure is blind.
Okay, so
His ears, blue ears, kind of twitch, and he leans his head kind of sideways, looks at Krenraid and goes, "Did you hear the thump?"
I did. I heard it too, and I'm not happy about it. We should probably regret the others real quick.
Hmm.
Hey, there's someone else down here.
Belle, you hear an unfamiliar voice call out, "Hi, there's someone else down here."
Hawkeye kind of poses to herself and whispers.
Dez looks at him and goes, "Well, why don't you just tell them that we're here?"
Okay. We're in the rooms over here if you want to have a real fight.
Fuck.
Belle stands there for a moment
and when you're looking out the door, when you get to the door and you look at it, you can see your friend Falazure standing by the door, and he is looking around. And then up at the end of the hall, you see Mulik. And hey, you also see Faldor over there as well.
Belle kind of has like a little happy dance kind of starting to happen, and she kind of like skips out with the bones in her hands and says, and she kind of throws the chips everywhere.
Wait, she walks through the door?
Yeah.
I shoot a firebolt at her. Actually, I don't know. Actually, I kind of do throw something at her.
Okay, yeah. Falazure
throws her kisses. Mwah.
No. What do I got? I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm on duty. Something just like I hear something, and then something comes through the doorway. Like we're gonna
that's something that comes through the doorway looks like somebody that you knew in a completely different plane of existence. And there's been a lot of crazy stuff down, here in Barovia. What are the odds it's really that person, and what are the odds that something has wound up trying to think of something from your shared past and manifest that?
Yeah. God, I don't have anything that like. All right, I don't fire anything. I don't have a cantrip, but I'm like, guys, we have company, and I
Mulek, you would have heard Krenraid yell. So
I
was not
walk
quiet.
out the door and drop the sling with a bullet in it and kind of start twirling it a little.
And Belle, somebody unfamiliar steps out of that room, and Heather, why don't you describe what Des looks like?
Well, Des happens to be a furbolg. His skin is kind of a brownish gray, and that gray may be more towards a bluish tint, but it's kind of hard to tell. And he stands about 7'10", so the door he just came through, most likely he probably had to duck. Has long blonde hair, some of it tied up into a knot on the back of his head, and he has kind of a pipe that's sticking, a long like tavern pipe sticking out of the corner of his mouth, and just looks like he's got very natural materials for an outfit.
Yeah, and standing up there by Mulek and Faldor, you see two other unfamiliar people. You see an old wizard and an attractive human female who has an artificial leg from about the middle of her thigh down. And they're both standing by Faldor, and they both, sharply look in your direction. And the old wizard sort of cocks an eyebrow and says, Tabaxi, what's a Tabaxi doing down here?
Falazure just kind of like awkwardly, Belle, is that really you?
Belle kind of puts her hands on her hips and says, I just made a grand entrance and this is what I get? You guys need some spice in your life.
Wait a minute. If it's really you, tell me something that only Belle would know.
How about give me my fucking turkey? She'll kind of make her way back up and paw out her hand like, turkey, come on.
Well, it really is you. And he just like drops his hammer and his shield, and it kind of like runs over to her.
Belle will run up and climb onto his shoulder and try and knock him down, kind of. Hopefully not, but...
Okay, now...
Krenraid's going to walk out at this point and see this happening. Oh my god, she's trying to grapple him!
Meanwhile, Des is looking back and forth between them like, seems pretty friendly to me.
And Ivy, I think Tabaxi, they're close to human size, so...
Yeah.
It's 5 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of just like bear hug her.
Yeah, okay. So, Krenraid, these two seem to know each other. And Mulek...
how obvious is it that they know each other? How much does it look like they're
he's
hugging
giving her a bear hug?
Yeah, but that could be something else. He could be grappling her to Krenraid. He doesn't know.
Oh, no, he's smiling and she's laughing.
Okay, right. Good, we're good.
And Belle, you see Casper fly over from near Mulek, and Casper just sort of flies around you a couple of times. And Mulek, if you are looking through Casper's eyes, yep, it looks like Belle, smells like Belle, acts like Belle, to the best that you can remember.
I'll turn and follow the owl and say, "Ha! I still haven't got you yet, my tasty treat."
How did you get here? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Belle. Answer.
Well, kind of turns to Falazure and says, "Magical ways of magic. Now I was promised to fight. We got it?" She kind of turns to Krenraid. "I don't really like being replaced. It's not my style."
I'll let her down.
Replaced by what? Are you friend or foe? Who be ye?
She kind of like giggles a bit, and she kind of like scuffs it off and says, "Well, I remember still on the mission of the Cult of the Dragon, because complications and hunters and stupid wasted people. Anyway, yeah, she kind of like checks at her nails and tries and picks at them, and cleans them off from the chip of the skulls and things like that. And she's, well, I was doing that. I found out really good information, but then I just kind of got here. I was looking at this place and it looked really warm, cozy.
I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. Backtrack. Are you a friend or are you a foe? I'm so confused.
Krenraid, this is my good friend Belle.
Oh, okay. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? I'm going back inside.
And
this is
pretty much Krenraid, or not
okay.
Krenraid, but Des is like
Krenraid. Before you go back in there, Belle, why don't you tell everybody, since everybody hasn't seen Belle in a while, remind everybody of what Belle looks like, what she's wearing, what would they see when they look at her right now?
When you see Belle, you can see a very cream-colored backseat with almost like a coffee tint on the upper parts of her ear and at the end of her tail. She also has these little red markings to highlight her eyes, her cheekbones, and basically her eyebrows. And she has these big, huge bells, which aren't filled with anything, sadly, but on the tips, on the bottom of her ears, and one on her back. She also wears like a red suit to also bring out the redness of her face as well, the red markings. She also now has a studded leather armor filled with cobalt bone. She really looks proud of it. Has cloak draped over her shoulders, kind of trying to protect herself from the heat, but probably failing horribly. Cold. Shh. I'm dead.
Maybe she's cold-blooded or something. I don't know.
Well, this is my new friend Krenraid, and this is
to meet you.
And then Krenraid, why don't you describe for Belle what Krenraid looks like, since this is the first time. Yeah. Go ahead.
Krenraid pretty much looks a bit slack-jawed and very aloof at this moment. He's probably kind of maybe even yawning a bit. He's wearing some half-plate armor, which seems a bit scuffed and hasn't been cleaned properly in a while. He's about 4'3", which is fairly tall for a dwarf. He's got a lovely mohawk that splits right down his skull, and a very big bushy beard, which he likes to tug and play on every now and then. He seems a bit rambunctious.
We'll have fun playing with it too.
What he lacks in intelligence, he surely makes up in charisma, because I love him to death.
You know what? So do I.
So, I think that effect that you guys had has long gone away by now, so I'm going to go ahead.
Welcome, by the way, mate.
Sorry.
Before Krenraid goes
like that.
fully into the room, she'll kind of say, "Oh, I have presents." And she'll kind of like look into her bag of holding, and she kind of pulls one out and she tosses it, like throws it like a dagger at Krenraid.
What is this? It's a kobold bone. Okay. She throws a kobold bone at you.
How did you know? I fucking hate kobolds.
Steve! And she kind of looks at Falazure saying, I think I made a new friend with my replacements.
You and me, we will have revenge.
She'll kind of come over to Falazure and like she'll kind of like have her claws out, but not to attack. She'll kind of poke at his cheeks and says, well, hello there, Mr. Straight Face.
I have a slight smile on my face, and I'm going.
Meanwhile, Dez is leaning up against the wall, smoking his pipe, looking at all of this, going, "Wow, okay."
Hell, you're a sight for sore eyes. Where have you been?
Did you just not hear me a moment ago?
Sorry,
you guys are like out of practice.
In my ear.
Well. You remember the dragons and stuff, right? Maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, well, the cult of the dragon, they kidnapped my family and enslaved them and killed them. So, I went and I hunted them down and they wanted to kill a few. But, I found out really good information, but that's a story for another day. I found out good information, and then, plus magic, I'm here.
Yeah,
she kind of spin around.
I know how aloof Belle is, so I'm sitting there just waiting. Thaldor's just waiting, and he goes, okay, now that that's out of the way, how did you get here?
Like I said, magic. I don't know. Well, I have magic, so I kind of know how magic works,
right.
But that's the point.
Thaldor looks over.
I get that magic's confusing.
Thaldor looks at Falazure and goes, puts his head to his face, says, oh, I missed her. Great. Love you, Belle.
I love you too.
But I don't mean that condescending. I'm just like, wow, it's like a shock. Thaldor is like, he's shocked and then he's confused because he's thinking logically, like, how the hell did Belle get here? And then he's thinking, okay, well, we know we got here magically and randomly. Well, we don't. Falazure does, but he told us, I imagine. And I'm just thinking, okay, this is random as can be, but I'm glad to see a familiar and friendly face. So welcome back, Belle.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to catch up. I might have missed you a little bit. Kind of turned his head to the side.
Falazure keeps on talking to Belle. Belle will kind of go and reach into his pocket where he normally keeps his jerky, like his stash, like his pocket, anything.
You wouldn't be fast enough.
See if there's anything there.
Try me. Try me.
Okay, so let's make some opposed dexterity checks or acrobatics. Opposed acrobatics checks.
You want to do acrobatics, or you want to do
acrobatics? Let's go.
Well, yeah, acrobatics, because Belle knows that she's going to have to be quick. And so then it's a opposed acrobatics check.
Okay.
Oh, so
barely.
As Thaldor is saying, oh, you wouldn't be fast enough, he realizes, wait a minute, my pocket's a little bit lighter. And then Belle just like takes a bite off of a bit of jerky and gives a big smile to Thaldor.
Thaldor carries jerky too? Oh wow.
Yeah, I carry my rations. They have jerky in them, so yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I'll munch on everyone.
I'm thinking all of you guys carry jerky now because it does in dog form.
I feel like it's like an adventurer's staple, you know?
Yeah. Dried meat definitely is. And the woman will come forward and she will say, oh, so this is a former friend of yours, adventuring companion?
I'll nod her head, and then she'll go over to Esmeralda and like poof up her hair and say, "You have really poofy hair. Like, do you have someone to comb it?" Like, she kind of like meads with her hands, like in the air.
Point in time, Des sees that, and then like exit stage left.
And Esmeralda will sort of give a quizzical look at Falazure and Falazure as if, okay, interesting friends you have. But she won't stop Belle from playing with her hair, and she'll say, you say, Belle, that you got here by magic. Tell me, was there a mist involved?
Kind of put her finger on her lips and think a moment and think a moment. And... Well, I couldn't see anything, so probably.
Yes. I find that very curious that your friends who have become trapped here by the mist, I presume that you all have not seen each other in some time, longer than before you came here, but that when you reached an hour of great need, the mist somehow brought your companion, your former adventuring companion, here as well. I have been studying how the mists work, and I wonder, this will be a new data point for me. And so she begins to fish out a notebook, and she pulls out a quill, and she dips it in a little bottle of ink, and she scratches a few notes in the little notebook based on what Belle has told her. Very interesting. Well, I am pleased to meet your acquaintance, Belle. I am called Esmeralda. The gentleman over in the corner by the other door, that is the legendary Mordenkainen. Perhaps you have heard of him from some of the spells that he has lent his name to. I believe that you now know the others. And in the other room over there is my mentor, the famous monster hunter, Van Richten, and also 2 former companions of Mordenkainen, who found themselves here by means that I do not yet understand. And about the time she finishes talking, there's a call from the room up here, and says, Mordenkainen, it's done. He's about to wake up. You may want to come. And Mordenkainen goes, oh, yeah, okay, sure. And so he walks in here, and he comes over here. What about the rest of you guys? Do you want to...
The old man are out of the room now as she kind of turns to Mulek and says, how's Birdie? Is it lunchtime yet?
Well, Bill, we don't have a lot of time to catch you up to speed here. Maybe when we get to camp later, but I'm going to give you the focus. I'm going to give you the 30-second rundown. All right. So we got here by the same way you did, by this fucking mist. Frankly, I'm kind of not a fan personally. All right.
Oh, it makes me cold and wet and damp and ugh.
All right. Can I take notes? I need to write this down. Hold on.
Yeah. Secondly, once we got here, this world just is all kinds of just effed up. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody is just weird. There's this evil and undead everywhere. It's run by this super powerful evil dude named Strahd, and that's why we're here. We're here trying to get some additional allies to go fight him, so we can get the hell out of here.
I was on mute earlier, but I would have said, when she said the comment about Birdie, I would have said, haha, Belle, you're funny. Now I know for sure it's you. And I give her a hug, and I say, I don't understand how you got here, but I'm glad to see you.
Belle would definitely be happy to rub her hand up against him. He gives her a hug. Mrs. Okay, well, the Strahd guy. Why don't we just stab him?
It's a little bit more complicated than that. Stabbing would work, I'd imagine, but it's a lot more complicated.
Well, she flips out her claws and says, well, I have good tools just right here. And she kind of like dances them around.
I love your enthusiasm. I miss that. But I promise you, I look over at Mulek and Falazure. It's a lot more complicated than that.
Annoyingly, he's right. It's pretty complex.
You've always been the smart one. I guess I'll take your word.
Yeah,
she kind of giggles and like looks around more.
And while you guys were talking, before Mulek came over, you notice he cast a spell and his patented bonfire appeared in the hall up here. So that is casting some light and is shedding some warmth in the area. So I'm going to say that if you guys are in this hallway or in one of these two rooms, no, I'm going to say you have to be out in the hallway at the end of the next hour. You won't have to make a Constitution check, because that'll take just enough of the edge off of the heat, off of the cold.
Is that the cantrip bonfire? Or is that a spell bonfire?
There's a cantrip create bonfire.
It's cantrip, yeah.
Because the cantrip,
that's the one that you cast, right?
Yeah, that only lasts a minute.
Oh, that only lasts a minute? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So I was researching it, because what I would have done if we were still feeling cold, I would have tried to find some broken wood and then would have lit that with the bonfire to warm us up.
Actually, when you cast it, whoops, that's not what I want to do. There. When you cast it, Mordenkainen was standing right there, and he says, good idea. And then he does a little twiddling of his fingers, and he looks at it, and he frowns, and he thinks about it, and he says, well, we can do better than that. And he twiddles his fingers and says something and points at it, and it seems to ripple a little bit, but otherwise it remains like it was when you cast it. And then he smiles at Mulek and he says, all right, that'll be good for 8 hours now.
Oh, lovely. What did you do?
Oh, I just enhanced it with a little bit of something I picked up in one of the planes that I traveled to.
Oh, very nice.
500 years ago or so.
Very nice.
What the?
Belle kind of whisper, wow, he is old.
He doesn't look it.
I mean, a little bit.
500 years?
So then later on, Van Richten will call Mordenkainen in the room, and he will walk in. And any of you who follow him in, like Mulek and perhaps Falazure, Thaldor, and you can walk past this fire without any damage. It's just the radiant bright light is out to 5 feet, and then it sheds a dimmer light over the rest of the hallway. Because of the way the amber is, it kind of catches and refracts and amplifies the dim light around the whole room, or around the whole corridor. So as you get in there, you see a person who, at least by what you have been told, this is supposed to be the legendary Otiluke. Otiluke is a bit shorter than, or he looks like he's probably a bit shorter than Mordenkainen. He has short black hair, a thin black beard, and his eyes are closed. And he is wearing, very, very fine and elegant, but rather plain robes at the moment. And he was, or he just looks. One thing you notice about him is that his forearms, the forearms that you can see coming out of his robe, are extremely thin, and there are metal bracers that are around his wrists, and those, they have a strange design that evokes some kind of familiar shape. I'll let you guys make a perception check, and for Bell and Krenraid, if you are in the room, you get advantage on your perception checks.
I went back into the room with Des to help look after Tenser.
Okay. Okay.
She's too hyped up and focused on meeting everyone again and trying to suck back all the information.
Mulek, you realize those images that are on the bracers he's wearing, those are images not of dragons but of kobolds.
On Otiluke's wrist or forearms?
On Otiluke's wrist.
They're
wearing
images of kobolds.
Yeah.
Those are interesting bracers that you have.
Well, he's still asleep, but Mordenkainen says, "Yeah, the damn fool didn't even want to get the curse removed from him. He says he likes them. Gauntlets of kobold strength. Can you imagine that? Ha!"
Didn't think kobolds were all that strong.
Kobolds aren't strong. They're just very, very tough. And a lot bony. She kind of pulls out like a handful of bones from her bag of holding and stuff.
and Mordenkainen looks at you and says, "You're right. They're not strong, but they're stronger than Otiluke." Ha!
Well, if he likes them, I guess I got no problem with that.
And Van Richten says, "Oh, well, I think we should try to wake him, Mordenkainen." And Mordenkainen nods, and he reaches down and he gently taps on Otiluke's shoulder, and he says, "Luke, my friend. Adi, Luke, can you hear me?" And the man's eyes, they kind of flutter open, and he looks and he says, "Mordenkainen, water." And Mordenkainen says, "Oh, yes, of course." And he reaches into one of the many pockets inside his robe, and he pulls out a flask, and he he uncorks it, and he helps Otiluke drink a swallow or two. And while he's drinking, Otiluke is looking around, and after he takes a few swallows, he says, "Huh. The Ember Temple. So, I take it that I died. And Warden Kanan says, yeah, you did. You were betrayed by Rary. And he says, Rary? That's hard to believe. Yeah, he had us all fooled. But, when I was away, he betrayed and everybody in the circle was killed. We managed to bring back everybody else except the clones that you and Tenser had in Greyhawk were discovered and destroyed before you were killed. So we've been searching all over the place. It's lucky that you two thought to have some clones here. And Otiluke says, yes, I thought it might be an irony that that if we hid our remains right under the nose of that black bastard, he wouldn't understand, and he wouldn't expect us to be here. And Warden Kanan smiles and says, "Oh, well, you've got a lot to catch up on. That guy was conquered. He was conquered by a human warlord named Strahd. But Strahd apparently paid a visit to this place, and well, he did some things that were rather foolish. He accepted some of the gifts of the dark powers, and now he's turned this into a demiplane. Ruled by himself as a vampire lord." And Otiluke says, "Oh dear. Vampires. Why does it have to be vampires?" And Warden Kanan shakes his head and says, well, I don't know. Everybody's got their kink, I guess. And he says, let me give you something to eat. We found Tenser in the next room. Van Richten's going to have to go do the ritual for him, but you take a few minutes and get your strength back, and you should be good to go. And Otiluke nods and says, yes, well, thank you. Thank you. And he looks around at the others that are in the room and says, oh, my dear. What a strange assortment of folk. Are these your pupils, Warden Kanan? He's like, no, everybody asked me that. They're not my pupils. They're adventuring companions. And they're not from Greyhawk either. They're from some place where they don't even teach them how to use a 10-foot pole properly. Can you believe that? And Otiluke says, oh dear, not even using a 10-foot pole properly. Oh, the youth today. They have so much to learn.
I'll be vigorously like shaking her hand like, hey, call on me. And she'll say, if they're in bat form, can I eat them?
If they're in what form?
Bat form.
The vampires. If the vampires are in bat form, can you eat them? And Otiluke looks at you and says, well, I suppose if you can catch them, but I suspect if you did enough damage to them, they would probably resume their normal humanoid form. And you probably wouldn't like that very much, so I wouldn't advise it. But perhaps if they die and they revert to bat form, I don't see why not.
I'm going to have some speared bat. Well, I haven't had that a good snack in a while. She'll kind of go off in thought, and she'll kind of like count her fingers and zone off.
Falazure speaks out. He's like, Master Otiluke, it's an honor to meet you. As a follower of Helm, I have a special appreciation for your protection magic that you're famous for.
And Otiluke says, "Oh, well, Martin Kanan. It seems that he remembers me. What is your name, lad?" He says, looking at Falazure.
Name's Falazure Ardenaeus. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, Falazure. Pleasure. The pleasure is mine. You say that I'm famous for these spells. And then he looks at Morton Kanan and he says, "You sure they're not from Greyhawk?" And Morton Kanan says, "No. It's been quite a while." And then Otiluke looks Morton Kanan up and down and says, "Wait a minute, you've gone gray." And Morton Kanan smiles and says, "Yeah, I've gone gray many times over, in fact." And he says, "How long?" And Morton Kanan kind of looks up at the ceiling a little bit, and you can tell he's kind of like mentally trying to calibrate, timeline from Greyhawk, timeline from Toril, and figure out what that is. My guess is a couple of millennia at least. And Otiluke says, 2,000 years? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You must tell me what's going. I'll catch you and Tenser up later. Come on, Van Richten. You've got to go. Wake up Tenser. We'll make sure somebody stays here with Otiluke. And Van Richten says, "Very well. Good to see you again, Otiluke." And Otiluke says, "Yes, Van Richten. Good to see you." And he looks back and forth between them and he says, "You two look awfully good for people who've been alive for 2,000 years. And Morton Kanan says, "Well, we haven't just sat on our duffs. We've been learning, working. There's a lot of stuff I have to teach you." And Otiluke says, "Oh, to be sure." And so Van Richten begins to leave. And then he says, "Well, Falazure, tell me more about precisely what spells of mine have you used, or have you studied?"
Well, I mean, I've only read about it in books. I'm fairly, as you would say, I'm just above apprentice level in the ability to use magic. I'm kind of a odd bird, you see. I follow Helm, but the church wasn't really my thing after a while. I just kind of switched to being, I just love music, and I'm a bard. So, which makes me kind of like I said, rare. Really not any bards of Helm that I could think of. But, Helm, he's a deity of protection, and I just really like your sphere,
And he nods and he says, "Oh, well, it's good to be remembered. And if you're a bard, then perhaps you can tell a tale that's more entertaining than Morton Kanan. Tell me, have you traveled with him for these 2,000 years yourself? Could you put the story into a song, or?"
No, I'm afraid not. I've only known him for less than 24 hours at this point, I think.
It's probably been a little over a day.
Yeah.
Because you guys met him. Yeah, you guys met him at. Wait, where did you meet him? Did you meet him? You didn't meet him at the Abbey, did you?
Richten?
No. Oh, you met him at the tower. Mordenkainen. You met Mordenkainen at the tower, and then you went back to the mansion, and you stayed the night at the mansion, and then you came. Yeah. So yeah, it's probably been a little more than 24 hours that you've known Mordenkainen. Okay.
But
go ahead.
Yeah, just to answer your question. Nope. This is all relatively new, and just trying to get the hell out of here. And
Mordenkainen says, "Yeah, they're all a little starstruck. It's not every day that they get to meet one legend that has half of every spell book you study named after him, and now they're not only getting to meet two, but three of them. So, we'd be like rock stars if we went on tour." And Otiluke gives a little smile and says, "Well, Mordenkainen, I can tell that your ego hasn't gotten any smaller in the last 2,000 years. That's for sure. And ego? What are you talking about? I'm the most humble person you'll ever meet. Just ask me. I'll tell you how humble I am."
Falazure leans over to Thaldor and he whispers, "I really like this Otiluke guy.
Think he'll be a valuable asset for the fight to come."
Van Richten gets over here and he starts doing the ritual for Tenser. And so that's going to take a little while. Is there anything that people want to do while that ritual is going on? Or do we just want to fast forward to when Tenser wakes up?
Fast forward.
This is another 2 hours?
No, 1 hour.
Oh, 1 hour.
Yeah.
Can we do a short rest?
Oh, sure. Sure, you guys can do a short rest.
Yeah, so I'll take advantage of a short rest.
Me too.
So will I, actually, yeah.
Yeah. And, let me see.
I do believe Bell has Song of Rest, and so do I, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You guys can use an additional... the hell is it? Hold on. You can use an additional D6
for each hit dice.
Lovely.
I didn't check.
So an additional D6 on top of your hit dice, so not each, but just for all.
Oh, I linked it. Y'all see that?
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, great.
Copycat.
Okay, so that's 8, 9, 10, 14, and 18. Okay, so that's 4 hit dice. All right, so Mordenkainen will take advantage of that, and he will get all the way back to full. And his mage armor has long since gone away, I think. Oh no, wait, mage armor is 8 hours, isn't it? So
I guess
still good.
I guess during that hour,
yeah,
me and Bell, we kind of he pulls out his guitar and he's, "Hey, you want to do something we used to do for fun?" And then he'll start playing and see if she'll join
grab
in.
hold of the strings and says, "It's too loud for Ski." I still kind of pull out her thing, start drumming it anyway. I think she has a Dahmer.
So we just kind of, we just play music softly, kind of like for the Song of Rest. And we're just smiling and having fun.
Okay.
It's something me and It's something Falazure and Bale did around the campfire a lot.
My dulcimer. Yeah.
Yeah, so the sound of the guitar and the sound of the dulcimer fill the air. Esmeralda seems to enjoy the music, and Mordenkainen even cracks a bit of a smile, and you can see his toe taps a little bit, and Otiluke seems to really enjoy that. And a couple of times during the hour that you're playing, Otiluke will ask if either of you know certain pieces of music, and the music that he asks for are things that you have never heard of before. So let's see, what is some of the things that he will ask for. He will ask for he will ask for tell me, do you know spring of anything?
He's talking to me?
Yeah, he's asking both of you. Do either of you know spring of anything?
I don't know. A history check?
Yeah. Go ahead and make a history check. You're pretty sure you know a lot of things, but you have never heard of spring of anything. And wow, he says, "Oh,
perfect roll. Damn."
Yeah, and he says, "Yeah, it kind of goes like da 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 da." And as you're listening, it's like, first of all, you don't know how good he is at carrying a tune, but it doesn't match up with anything that you're familiar with. And you then presume, oh, this is probably a song he knew back in Greyhawk 2,000 years ago. So, yeah, you're sure that some bards that have been able to travel from plane to plane have probably brought music between different worlds, but yeah, that's not one that's you've run across before.
Now, you're from a different plane, right, Master Otiluke? Like you said, Greyhawk, I think, is what Mordenkainen mentioned.
Yes. Greyhawk was the major city. We called our world Earth.
Oh, well, we're not from that plane, and I haven't the ability to, or had the opportunity to do any plane shifting, so unfortunately, I know so many music on our world. Have you ever heard of Faerun?
Faerun. Oh, yes. Faerun. Let me see. I believe that Mordenkainen was telling me just a couple of weeks ago. He had traveled there. It's a couple of weeks ago to me. It would have been thousands of years ago. The world is what, Abertoral, or sometimes when.
Yeah, we call it Toriel. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. I've heard of it. I've never traveled there myself.
Now, I know a lot of music from there, but unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't know any of this place you call Earth.
Play me something that's popular at springtime festivals where the lasses will dance, the lads. I'd be in the mood for something upbeat like that.
Falazure just kind of like looks over at Belle and kind of gives her like a awkward look, and he just winks at her. He starts playing a tune that she can kind of go along with, and he plays something that he would know.
Okay. All right.
Takes a moment to figure out what he's playing and trying to go through her like song list that they've played together before, and as she finally pops up, her ears kind of perk up and she keeps on going with them.
Okay, and he kind of, his foot is definitely kind of bobbing time, and he's smiling at that, and his finger taps a little bit in time with the music. Actually, you notice that his finger is tapping, but he's tapping off the beat. So clearly, if he was trying to hum a melody to you, he probably wasn't very close with what that melody was. If you had a musician hum the melody to you, you might in fact know that tune by a different name, but it was so far off of anything you'd ever heard. All right, so anything else that people want to do?
Taking it up.
Well, Belle also wants to find the time to go over to Dez and see what he's all about. He's been hiding from her this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So probably after she's played for a while and her fingers got sore from not doing it for such a big time, she'll kind of peek her head into the door and say, "Hi."
Des had been basically walking around gathering up debris and stuff to kind of sort through it, but also to see if there's anything worth anything in it. And then he was gonna go at it to the bonfire, just to make sure that we keep up the warmth, and had been mumbling to Krenraid about
how loud are you?
No, just strange people, strange times.
We both like smoking. She could talk to animals. There's plenty we could talk about.
Yeah. And Van Richten will not shoo you out, but he'll just ask you if you're going to talk in there to keep it quiet, because he's kind of walking from one side to the other, and there's some powder he sprinkles around, and he has his holy symbol, and he has some holy water, and he's sprinkling that, and then there are long passages where he'll pull out a little arcane book, and he'll be reading out of that book, and he'll take time, he'll touch Tenser's forehead, and he says a few things, and then he dips his finger in some holy water and he puts it on Tenser's forehead, and then he'll touch Tenser's chest, and he'll flip to another section. He'll read some other things, and then he dips some holy water and puts that on his chest. And then at one point, he takes some holy water and he dabs it on Tenser's lips while he's reading something else. And this is going on,
well, as doesn't
the
want
full
to
hour.
Him, so he wanders off and kind of motions to Krenraid and kind of hey, let's get out of here type thing.
Yeah, I'm stepping way back when he starts sprinkling that weird stuff. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
That will be in the way for Des to take the broken wood things to the fireplace, so she'll kind of reach up and kind of grab it and hold on to it in his arms until he finally lets go, until she kind of runs over to the fireplace and puts it in it for him.
Well, as he's getting ready to leave the room and comes basically almost face to face with you, he's got to duck to get through the door. That'd probably be a good time for you to grab
Let's
stuff.
take advantage of the moment.
Yeah.
Here, let me help you.
Thank you. I guess.
She'll like just chuck it on a pile on the fire and say, ugh, dirty. She kind of like try and brushes herself off, like, and shakes it and is like, well, you don't like me, do you? And she kind of turns over to Des with her fingers on her hips and says, you're very quiet. You like smoking? I have the perfect thing. She kind of reaches into her bag and then she pulls out catnip. Like a form of catnip or mint.
Goes, I do apologize. I don't want to come off as rude. I just don't know you yet. I've only just met this group.
Des, could you clarify something for me as well? Is this a talking cat, or is this a person that's transformed into a talking cat?
Des kind of laughs and goes, no, this is a tabaxi.
Oh, yeah, I've never met one. I've heard of him, though. You look an awful lot like a talking cat. It's very sweet. But
Des
more
just kind of
importantly,
looks at
kobolds,
Belle,
so.
like, with a raised eyebrow, like, just bear with him.
Only squints
all
her
I know
eyes
is
and then
that
pushes
you
her head into his chest and waits to see if he's actually gonna pet her or not.
Who?
Into Krenraid.
You just pulled a cat on you.
Can I help you?
She kind of looks at him and says,
headbutt.
That's highly disappointing. Mulek! She kind of turns on her heel and turns to Mulek. She does the exact same thing. Kind of presses her head into him and says, okay.
Hey, Belle.
I'm looking at Des like, what the f-?
I actually need to talk to Krenraid for a little bit.
It's a bit
So Des
He's
just kind of
nice.
looks at him like, think of it as me in dog form?
Okay, yeah. Hey, kitty, I've got some treats.
Hey, Kren.
Her face would just drop and like look at him and like, I'm not a wild cat. Oh, I am, but no. But I will take the treats though. And she kind of like reaches towards his hand and try and grabs the treats.
Absolutely, it's some lovely dried meats. Have fun.
Hey, somebody else with jerky.
Then she'll kind of run back to Falazure next to the fireplace and says, you guys really love the treats now. And she'll keep on chewing at it. I'm still trying to break that nut.
Hey, what's up, Mulek?
Hey, Kren. Come here for a sec. And I kind of lead him over to the side here. Hey, remember that ring you gave me?
Oh yeah, the signet ring from the crafts.
Oh, do you not know what this ring does?
Not a clue. It's one of the few things I could grab before the dragon destroyed half of my home.
This is a very powerful ring. You know, you make fun of finger wagglers, but this ring that you have here, there's a lot of finger waggling in this ring.
Well, like the ring is a magician.
This ring has got some magic. There is some powerful magic in this ring. In fact, whoever had this ring before you put a very powerful spell into this ring. And I'm holding out the ring and handing it over to Krenraid. I said, Kren, you can put this ring on. You're going to have to spend some time with it. It needs to attune to your essence, to your soul. But there is one spell in here that if we find ourselves in a battle, you can point this, your fist, whatever hand you put this ring on, just point your fist at whatever creature you may be battling or we may be battling. and that creature will light up on fire. And I'm talking serious fire. And only that creature will light up on fire. But you only have one use of that. However, after that use, bring it back to me and I can load some more spells in there for you to use. And we can talk about what kind of spells you'd want to be able to use to make yourself a little bit more powerful in fights, so to speak.
Okay, so sorry, I'm gonna need to have one thing. What's a spell?
All right, forget about spells. Okay, just ignore that I said spells. Put this ring on. Think of, the next time we've got a rest, just hold that ring and think about the ring. Just look at it, admire it.
I mean, it's beautiful dwarven craftsmanship. It's got a lovely rune on it. It's got the Hillcrest signet. I've thought about it a lot when I miss home.
Yeah, okay. You put it back on your hand. Think about it. Get comfortable with it. Next time we're in a fight, if there's a creature you want to damage really bad, just hold your fist out and think of that creature and think of the ring, and that creature will light on fire.
And I can do this once?
You can do it one time, and it's very powerful. So use it when you think you most need it. And after you use it, come talk to me, and I can put some more power into that ring. I can't put that same fire spell in there, but there's some other things that I can do with it, and we can talk about it.
Okay, I really do appreciate you, going out of your time and do that. I won't forget this. I owe you a debt. Would you find more use for funky thing?
No, not right now. I can't imagine that. I can cast magic right now without needing the ring, but this can help.
A crutch for you, right?
This can help you now, I think, more than it can help me. So why don't you try it out, see how it goes, and we can talk later about it. We'll see how it works. But remember, you've got one use of this real powerful fire.
Wait. What happens if I think of a friend? Because I'm constantly thinking about you guys. Well, I've got accustomed to you now.
Don't worry. Just point it at a mean creature that we're fighting. Just point your fist at it. Point the ring at it, and just say fire. And
is that like the Sunblade thing? We've got to speak the words, and it turns into a sword.
Sure. Yeah. In this case, yes. Okay. Just say fire, and it's got distance. It can hit someone up to 90 feet away.
90 feet. Okay.
90 feet. And
so that's 10, 1. He's going to start counting on his fingers.
It's far. it's far, right? And it only will affect the creature that you want to affect. So it's not like it's going to blow up and hurt people standing next to it. Okay, it's only gonna affect the creature that you are looking at and that you wanna light on fire. You think you can do that?
I'm obviously an incredibly intelligent dwarf, so I've got this handled.
If you get confused, just yell at me and I'll help you, right? Or if I see where it might come in handy, I'll yell at you and say, "Kren, point at that creature and say fire."
Oh, yeah. You're really good at the finger waggling, so you can tell me when to fire. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Good deal.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, this is very powerful. This is a very, very special ring. Take good care of it.
I always will. It's one of the few reminders I've got of home. It's not going nowhere.
Yeah, it's a good keepsake.
Okay, and as the conversation between Mulek and Krenraid wraps up, and Krenraid learns a little bit more about his ring, I think that's a good time for us to take our break. I have 32 after the hour, so we're going to go ahead and break for 10 minutes or so, and then we will come back and we will find out what happens when Tenser gets awakened. And see what other hijinks the party can get into for the rest of the evening. Viewers, thank you guys for hanging out and joining us this evening. We'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. And we will talk to you soon. Oh, and if you guys do have any questions for us, me as a DM or the players, let me know during the break, or let us know during the break, and we will go ahead and answer those when we come back. All right, guys, I'm going to mute myself, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
That was really well done, Michael, by the way. I say it was really well done.
Sorry I was late. I just felt horrible all day and overslept.
That's fine. It's absolutely fine, my guy.
Yeah, no, I know I had to take a nap before this game, too, because I worked the devil with my mom, and I just exhausted myself because I didn't get any sleep last night either. So that was a lot of fun.
Mulek knows how to talk to Krenraid. It's great, and that's absolutely true. That was very good. That was.
I had to dumb it down.
Very good. Yeah, you dumbed it down really good, because I've literally had conversations playing a very similar character that lasted a real life hour, trying to explain what a spell was.
Yeah, I was like, just forget about a spell. Just we'll just say fire, right? Just make it.
It was great. You did really good.
Yeah,
I'm so impressed by you two.
What is the ring?
It's a ring of spell storing, man. It's
spell storing. Okay, yeah, that's impressive.
It's a very powerful item.
What spell was put in it though?
Do you want us to tell you, or do you want it to be surprised?
I mean, I guess it can be a surprise.
Yeah, let it be a surprise.
Well,
Imagine it's fireball, like a high level fireball.
You'll see how surprised Bella came. I threw the chips, the skulls, and everything. And you guys are like, who are you?
I mean, me and Bella are going to have words, because kobolds are a very angry and evil thought for Krenraid. He does not like them because of past trauma, so...
Oh no, then him and Bella are going to get together real well. But yeah, her armor is studded. She studded herself with cobalt bones. Like with her teeth and everything. I think it's pretty sick, but...
Krenraid the Finger Waggler. I've had this ring, by the way, since I started. Gally told me to take certain magic items upon joining. One of them was the Cloak of Protection, which you guys know about. Another one was the Pipe of Smoke monsters, which lets him make those kind of smoke things. And the last one was this ring. But I can't exactly, explicitly use a ring of spell storing when Krenraid doesn't even understand what a spell is. So.
That is very fair.
I thought it would be a lovely contradiction and very funny.
Yeah, that was one of the things that Paul talked about that when he was pitching his character and putting character creation. He says, what if I give him a ring or a magic item that he has to have somebody explain to him before he can use it?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that would be hilarious. And then it's just we've been doing so many adventures that it's taken a long time for Mulek to have the time to actually look at the ring and figure out what it does and then explain it to Paul.
Another NPC mentioned it, and then Krenraid got curious about it and mentioned it to Mulek. So there was absolutely no suspicion in Krenraid's part that there was anything magic related until it was pointed out. So it was honestly, the fact that it took this long is perfect. It's even better.
Long enough that a lot of people probably had forgotten he even had that.
I didn't.
Yep.
It's going to be fun explaining all these spells that Krenraid could have absolutely no idea what they do. Uleke's going to put some spells into it and have to create code words for each one, because there's nowhere in hell he's going to be able to visualize shield as an example by itself.
Yeah.
Hey, Galabon, we didn't address that. I think I still had Maverick up at the top of that hole and would have been surprised by Belle coming down the hallway.
Yeah, did Belle ever... I know I wasn't here the first 20 minutes of the game, but did Belle ever explain how she found us?
In code.
In code, yes, but no, she hasn't explained that fully, so...
Basically, she got bamboozled by the same mist we did.
That I got when she showed up. I was sort of like, how she found us at the Amber Temple. Like, how did she end up here? I think the way Taldor was like, how did you end up here specifically? Not in Barovia, like here. Because, like, well, maybe she sniffed us out. She can smell.
The characters did not learn that, but the players learned that, and that was while you were or before you had joined us. So the players did figure out how she got here specifically and found you guys down on this level of the temple, but in character, Belle has not explained that to the characters yet.
So how did Belle get here as a player, not as the character? Besides the mist, how did she get to the Amber Temple and find us?
Well, she saw you guys kicking out the people, Vikings, whatever they're called, and then they're like, "Oh, let's follow," and then she just followed you guys' scent and stuff from there into down there.
That makes sense.
You guys can hide? No. But more details probably coming soon.
Right. We've missed you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be playing Belle again.
Yeah, I was. When Ivy first told me, I'd like to bring Belle back, I was like, okay, now how am I gonna get her there? And I usually like to try to figure out, okay, how can you make it something that's somewhat organic? But I knew that if we wanted to bring her back during the story, I was going to have to do a little bit of Deus Ex Machina crap to get her to you guys. But it took me a while to figure out how could I make that seem plausible from Belle's point of view and also for the party's point of view. And I began, I was reviewing, where you are in your character progression, where she would be if she had been following the Cult of the Dragon storyline up to the same level that you guys are. And there was a really good, really natural way of bringing her from the action of that line to Barovia, even in an area that would have a similar landscape. So, okay, cool. I can just bring her right to the doorstep of the temple, basically.
And this is why I love you.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I thought you were going to chuck her in one of the coffins or something.
Well, it was that, we talked about, and Ivy. This goes for all of you, but Ivy is not shy about pitching ideas, which I love from players. Well, maybe I could do this, or maybe I could do that, and so I was thinking about all of those ideas and thinking, okay, will that work? And so as I was kind of figuring out, I then hit on something that wasn't exactly one of the ideas she had pitched, but there were a few things she wanted that I said, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Do that and have that. Because of course we also had to level up her character and do some upgrades to some stuff that she had from was it level 3 or level 4 the last time you played her?
4.
Yeah, so bring her up to level 7 and upgrade her gear a little bit. So she would be more in line with what you guys have gotten along the way.
So, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if we'd had a chance to have a rest yet.
Yeah. We took a short rest. I took a short rest. So.
Me to have beast form back.
So I walk real quick. I walk up to Belle and I go, so you said Cult of the Dragon, because Thaldor's backstory, he's really out for the Cult of the Dragon. So I walk up to her. This is a quick conversation. I walk up to her and go, so if we ever get out of here, you know where they're at?
She kind of chuckles and says, do I ever? And I created a ruckus too.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me in the least, knowing you. I'm just saying that, good. I'm glad you know what's going on, because we kind of lost track of them. Once we got out of, and I call Falazure over. Falazure, when we got out of Waterdeep, and we kind of lost them up north somewhere? Ken?
Yeah. We lost them on the road, and we got sidetracked, and then we ended up on the damn river, and all that shenanigans started.
Yeah. So as long as you know where they're at, I guess we could always backtrack eventually and go take care of that. That's in my wheelhouse. That there's somebody that deserves a dagger to the neck, and I'll speak a little louder so Mulek can hear me.
Because if I remember correctly, out of character, we were following a convoy, and we kind of learned where they were possibly going, but we didn't know for sure. And with it being the Cult of the Dragon, I'm sure things were pretty secretive. So
yeah, you guys got wind of where you thought they were going, and you decided to
try to cut them off by taking the river.
Try to cut them off by taking the river. And it just so happens, I mean, I couldn't have made a better In fact, I like the transition you guys gave me better than the transition I had planned, which was I was thinking you were going to be on the caravan, and the caravan would wind up getting attacked by one of the elemental cults. And that's how you would wind up getting pulled into the elemental or Princes of the Apocalypse storyline. But instead, you wound up going up the river and going right past one of the strongholds of the cult. So it's like, yes, this is perfect. They'll get attacked right after they go past that stronghold by the pirates on the river. So it's like it was just this is an example, I think, of and the best DMs I have ever played with have always done this, and so it's one thing I try to borrow from them, that yes, you kind of know in a loose sense where the story is going, but you don't have the story so tightly controlled that it doesn't allow for player input to change up the story a little bit. And so that was an example of how you guys as players impacted the way the story unfolded in a way that I think was really superior to what I was planning to do in the first place. So I appreciate that. All right. So about the time that you guys are talking to Belle, you hear Van Richten's voice. Mordenkainen, I think Tenser, the ritual is finished. Tenser is ready to rake up. And Mordenkainen has been talking to Otiluke, and he says, looks like Tenser's up. And Otiluke says, I think I've regained my strength. And he spins on the slab and stands up. And then he and Otiluke, he and Mordenkainen will come out here. And they will go in here and stand over here by the bed. Is anybody else gonna come in there? Okay. And Mulek and anybody else who gets in there, you'll see that Tenser, he looks like he's almost as tall as Mordenkainen, and he might be as tall. Of course, it's hard to tell with him being there. He's got a significant amount of gray in his hair, but his hair still shows some brown. But there's a significant amount of gray in it. And he's got sort of a salt and pepper beard that is close trimmed. You would probably say that Otiluke has a goatee, whereas Tenser has more of just sort of a very close cropped mustache and beard all the way around. He has a rather prominent aquiline nose, and his robes are blue in color. And Mordenkainen will step over to Tenser and will just put a hand on his shoulder and gently shake him and say, 10. Wake up, 10. Wake up. And his eyes flutter. And when his eyes open, you see his eyes are brown, very similar to Otiluke's brown eyes. And he looks around, and then he looks up into Mordenkainen's face, and he smiles a bit, and he says, water, please, water. And Mordenkainen pulls the flask out and hands it to him, and or helps him drink a few swallows. And then he will say, Mordenkainen, what are you doing here? And Mordenkainen says, I had to come and rescue you. Better late than never, I guess. And he looks around and he says, the Amber Temple. Then I must have died. And he looks and he sees Otiluke and he says, Luke, old boy, they got you too. And Otiluke nods. And Tenser looks up at Mordenkainen, studies him, and then looks over at Van Richten, studies him, says, you've both gone gray. I presume it's been, 20, 30 years? And at that, Otiluke just sort of smirks and kind of suppresses a giggle. And Mordenkainen smiles and says, more like 2,000 years. And Tenser says, oh my god, I can't believe it's been all this time. 2,000 years. And then he looks at the room around him and he says, oh gods, everything has crumbled to dust. I guess it really has been that long. And he says, yep, sure has. And Otiluke says, yeah, and apparently the guy that runs this place was overthrown, And now it's been turned into a demi-plane by a vampire lord. And Otiluke, Tenser just sort of shakes his head. Says, vampires. Not again. And Mordenkainen says, yeah, I'm afraid so. And so he, again, is a little bit weak, but Mordenkainen gives him some food to munch on and gives him another flask of water that he can start to drink. And they're there, and then Tenser will look at Mulek and Thal'dor and Krenraid. He'll look back at Mordenkainen and say, he'll look at Mordenkainen and he'll look at Van Richten and says, are you going to introduce me to your apprentices? And Mordenkainen says, damn it, they're not my apprentices. Everybody asks me. They're my apprentices. They're adventurers in their own right. But you wouldn't believe the lack of knowledge that these guys have. They don't even teach them how to use a 10-foot pole the right way. And you can see Otiluke sort of roll his eyes. He looks at Mulek and sort of rolls his eyes. Mordenkainen complaining about 10-foot pole yet again. And Van Richten looks at Thal'dor and gives a little tight smile. And Tenser says, oh, the same old Mordenkainen, I see. Well, they're in your capable hands. I'm sure you'll get them straightened out. And he says, well, they better hope so, or else they're going to get themselves killed. And he looks around to see who's in there, and he says, yes, Mulek, Thal'dor, Krenraid, say hello to the mighty Tenser.
Nice to meet you.
Good. I would know what time of day it is. Is it morning or evening?
It's going to be about early afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tenser, sir.
Greetings, Tenser.
And he says, hello. And then Mordenkainen says, I'll have you know that you and Otiluke both, you're pretty famous. Not just in Greyhawk, but on a lot of planes. Remember those signature spells that you came up with, Tenser? The really handy floating disc and some of the other ones? Tenser says yes. Says, well, those are taught in every wizard school, from Acheron to Toril to Greyhawk to Eberron. They all know your name now. It's called Tenser's floating disc. And he says, that's quite flattering. And so he studies the three over there, and he kind of seems to discount Thal'dor and Krenraid, but he looks at Mulek. He says, so are you a student of the arcane?
I am, but more recently have become a student. I've always had an interest. Unfortunately, I have yet to learn your signature spell. I apologize. I've not had that chance to pick up that spell or to learn it.
And Tenser Tenser nods and then looks over at Otiluke and says, so, Luke, are you just now awakened yourself, or have you been up and about for a while? And he says, no, they just woke me up an hour ago. And it took me most of that time to get the strength back to walk. And Tenser looks at his forearms and he kind of smiles. He says, "You've still got those things. I thought you would have upgraded by now." And Tenser says, No, they served me well. It's all I need. And the thing is, they don't look like anything terribly valuable, so people don't try to steal them. And Tenser says, "Well, you're darn right. They're not." Oh, I'm sorry. That's not Tenser's voice. That's Mordenkainen's voice. He says, "You're darn right. They don't try to steal them. They wouldn't be worth anything to most people." And so he looks around and he says, "Well, what do we do now?" And Mordenkainen says, "Well, now that you're both awake, I think we can tell you a little bit about the plan." And Otiluke and Tenser both look at him and say, "The plan? What plan?" And he says, "Oh, well, Van Richten and I are here to deal with the Vampire Lord that is that is in control of this demi plane. You see, because he's got so much sway here that it's almost impossible to get anybody out of this realm without eliminating the Vampire Lord first. And it's nearly impossible to get to this realm unless you just happen to get swallowed up by the mists that surround it. And those mists manifest at random times on random planes and get random people. There's only one group of people, to my knowledge, that have any sort of control over it all, and that's the Vistani." And Tenser says, "Ah, yes, the traveling folk. The Vistani, they're known for their hospitality. How would they ever get mixed up with a vampire lord?" And Van Richten says, "Oh, well, that's a long story, but at some point I can tell you if you want to know." And Tenser says, "Yes, well, some other time. But so this vampire lord keeps everybody here, and I presume reigns over everybody, keeps them in terror, a bunch of soulless people wandering around, all of the usual stuff." And Mordenkainen says, "Yes, quite, my old friend. They will. We have to eliminate him to free the people of the realm. We already managed by a stroke of good luck to free the woman that has been his obsession for centuries, the one that he thinks betrayed her because she fell in love with his brother instead of with him." And Tenser will smile and say, "Well, that's good. That's good. But come along, tell me this plan of yours." And so they'll kind of relay the plan of how they want to, or Mordenkainen will tell those two how he and Van Richten are hoping that the four of them, together with you, can find any useful information from the former guardians of this place that may help them to weaken Strahd, and then go and confront Strahd at his castle and destroy him, and then furthermore destroy his sarcophagus so that he can't keep coming back. So both Otiluke and Tenser will say, will ask, yes, but then what becomes of this place if Barovia returns to a place that is not a demiplane? Then the Amber Temple will be manifest in some normal plane. And I suspect that even as tough as it was built in the first place, eventually people will be able to get in. And what will become of those people if they encounter the dark powers that are entombed here? And Mordenkainen says, "Oh, shit. Hadn't thought of that. Hey, you lot!" He calls out to the adventurers. "Everybody get in here. Tenser has a question." And so Esmeralda will come in. Will Belle and Dez come in when...
I'll look out the door and I'll tell Ferris to go wake Dez up.
Okay.
So Ferris goes over and starts nudging Dez awake.
Yeah.
Just want to get to sleep.
Dez, we need you.
Okay. Yeah. Dez, you've already, everybody's already had the short rest, so you don't.
Yeah, he's just being lazy.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's tired. He just wants to lay down and go to bed.
Okay.
Get out.
Okay. So, as everybody gets in here, Mordenkainen will say, "Well, Tenser reminded me of something. You know, if we destroy this vampire lord and people are able to get out of this demiplane and it resumes its place in whatever plane of existence it was supposed to be in the first place, then that means that this Amber Temple is going to wind up being some place that people are able to get to a lot more easily than they could before. And so what are we going to do about making sure this place is not going to be accessible to any old random adventurer that decides to wander in here? People could get themselves seriously killed and cause serious mayhem."
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Ulick probably thinking the same thing I am, maybe. I look over at him. Just put a protection barrier up like what kept us out in the first place.
Well, we actually went around that barrier. But how hard could it be? We can clean this place out. Shouldn't be too hard.
No. But even though we went around it, they could still put a barrier, there when we're done. They can't go in that way either.
You give me a couple of days and a pickaxe, I could collapse the entire place.
That's the brute idea. Yeah, that sounds great as well.
And Tenser looks at Krenraid, and he shakes his head. He says, "Master Dwarf, you have a typically dwarven solution, which in most cases is very good, but I believe that if the amber sarcophagi were damaged and cracked, then the entities inside them would be freed. And who knows what would happen in that case, I think that would be worse than leaving them trapped in here.
There's something you don't want getting out?
Oh, most definitely. And Mordenkainen says, "Yeah, well, I didn't tell these folk when we came in here, but just so you'll be aware, that room that we came through, those 3 sarcophagi, one of them carries the vestige of Fekri, the Queen of Poxes. Fekri was a power that ruled over an entire demiplane where everything transmitted disease. Virulent and awful and terrible disease. And if anybody touches that, she'll offer them their gift. And that gift is to spread plague to everyone that they come in contact with. And another one is the vestige of the dark power known as Zrinhala, the Howling Storm. And that one will cause lightning to spring out at inopportune moments, and probably not go where you want it to go. Probably wind up hurting more people than it helps. Hurting more of your friends. And then the third one is the vestige of Psychane, the Soul Hungerer. Psychane will allow you to raise someone who is recently deceased. However, the price you pay is it turns you into a ghoul.
Belle kind of sniffles and their tears start to light her eyes and it's like, that means you guys are all gonna die now. You know,
when kind of looks at her like, what? What did I miss?
I fell and one of the weird woman thingies talked to me and it was the first one, the one whoever you touch you're gonna die. Oh no.
What?
She kind of goes up to Falazure and gives him a hug. I'm so sorry.
Krenraid's immediately arming up. He thinks it's an enemy.
Oh. Belle, did you accept the gift or did you do what I told him?
Stranger.
Right, we don't talk to strangers.
No.
As soon as Falazure asks, Mordenkainen, he's like had this shocked look, but Falazure asks, and he kind of nods at Falazure's question, and he looks intently at Belle, and when Belle says, "No, of course not," Falazure relaxes, or Mordenkainen relaxes and says, "Oh, child, you have nothing to worry about. The gift can't be forced on you. You have to accept the gift. It would try to make it sound like something wonderful and pleasant. And if you rejected the gift, you have nothing to worry about. But that's exactly how this happens. You simply have to go and touch one of these sarcophagi, and it will begin to try to tempt you with the gifts that it offers. That's why this place is so dangerous. Any crazy adventurer that walks in here could just touch something, and this thing will fill its head with all sorts of wonderful gifts that they could receive."
Elle kind of squints her eyes, looks to the door, and puts her paw on the door very slowly.
I've got a question. How do we know that we're the only adventurers touching things in here?
Mordenkainen says, well, that's a good question. We know that only people who get to Barovia can get in here, but as we've seen, that earthquake apparently caused a crack in the outside. It's how those berserkers got in here, how we got in here. Who knows how many other people have been here? And you saw that hole that was bored in that room on the upper level. So somebody's come down in here. I wouldn't doubt that someone already has the dark gift of one of those powers in that room that we were in. Someone, whoever made that hole, however long ago that was.
I gotta admit, it would be pretty cool to have the lightning one.
You're already a hit. I don't think you need it.
And he looks at Falazure. He says, I don't think you would like it very much if you wound up getting that gift. I don't think it would work quite the way that you think it would.
Just think, every one of my performances would be shocking.
As your manager, I have to advise you that wouldn't be a good idea.
Kind of narrows her eyes to Falazure to like, yours is ours. Our shows.
We'll have to work on that contract, Belle, since you've been gone, but that's okay.
And Mordenkainen just looks at Otiluke and says, bards, they never change. And Otiluke says, oh, well, the lad does play very well. And the last two, she's quite good at that dulcimer. Very soothing. But in this case, I think I would agree with Mordenkainen. I would not advise anybody to seek out or accept any of the gifts of any of these Vestiges. You would probably get more than you bargained for, and not in a nice way. And Van Richten will nod solemnly. And about this time, Tenser is able to sit up on the side of the bed and says, well, somebody said we should start exploring this place and see what we can find. That sounds like a capital idea.
Yeah, let's go. We're wasting time.
I'm down for it. Let's rock and roll.
Aye, I'm ready.
That couple. Their ears kind of go down. It's like, aww.
So, Otiluke and Tenser and Mordenkainen and Van Richten will all go up here, and they will say, and Otiluke and Tenser, they wake up, or they start to realize it's kind of cold, and so they say, all right, everybody, gather round, and they will wait until everyone gets nearby, and then they will cast a spell. One of them will cast a spell. Okay. Oops. Okay. There we go. Here, hold on. Okay, come on. Oh, come on. What the hell? Where is that spell?
Ignore that.
Did they change the name of it in this?
Not yet,
edition?
Kren. Don't point your fist yet, Kren.
Ignore that.
He's like practicing. It's not. That's not working.
Wait, what was the word again?
Okay. Oh, I see. Yes, they've changed the name, but one of them will go ahead and cast a spell, and they'll walk around and they cast it repeatedly, and they touch everybody. And as soon as they touch you, you feel, you can tell, or you understand that you understand that it's still just as cold as it has been before, but you no longer feel like you are cold. And then Tenser will look at you all and will say, it's a simple little cantrip that I learned when I was young. Endure elements. It'll keep you from suffering the effects of extreme heat or extreme cold for a full day. So, no need to worry about getting too cold in this place.
This finger waggling is getting better by the minute.
I don't think we will be here that long.
I have the fur to keep me warm. She kind of like dances around a little bit, happy.
And so they will begin to walk around and start going to various different places. And you realize now you're walking out into the floor of this big, huge temple that was out here. And, these women are long gone. Actually, you see them over here. And you see that they are all quite dead.
Oh, I don't like that.
Oh.
Can
we tell how they died? Can we see?
And let's see. Yes, I'm sure we can. Okay. So. All right. It looks like they have suffered an intense amount of necrotic damage. It's almost like the life force was drained out of them by something, and they are desiccated husks that are only recognizable as the women you saw a couple of hours ago from the clothes that they were wearing. And otherwise they might as well have been mummified remains that have been here for centuries. And Mordenkainen will go, "Oh, stay back, kids." And he wanders over here, and he looks and he says, "Uh-huh. Oh, nasty one. Yep. Okay." And he says, "Yeah, I don't even think that our friend that we met before would be capable of this one, but this area is trapped, and it would take a lot more than those three to destroy the trap. Looks like whenever you walk into it, it just hits you with a horrible amount of necrotic energy. Don't go over there. And so he says, "Oh, where to now?" And then they all sort of look at you and they say, "Well, which direction would you all like to go?"
Let's further into the temple. What do you guys say?
Okay, somebody points up here.
Yeah, it's what are the statues up ahead?
And all right, the statues. Okay. Let's see. Oh. Yeah. These two statues in here. 11. I see. All right. The dotted line area, you can't see that from the floor because that's actually a balcony area up above. And the doors are actually up on the upper level as well. So there's just this big, huge statue that you notice from behind. Yeah. I guess if Mordenkainen maneuvered his light globe around, you would eventually see that there's open doors up here and closed doors over here. But you guys would have to find a way of getting up there.
Got you.
Yeah, so that would probably mean either finding stairs going back up, which would mean back here somehow, or going back up that rope that you were in before.
Guess we can go straight across the hall if we can't get out.
Yeah, what do we see down here?
Okay, you get over here, and you come in, and it's again another hallway, similar to the hallway that you were in before, except the hallway to the north end is not collapsed. It is open. It appears, of course, that up here where you made your bonfire, something had collapsed at the end of the hallway. But over here on this side, we can see glistening amber coats the walls and ceilings of this enormous hall like sculpted honey, and dust covers the black marble floor. The vaulted ceiling is 25 feet high. Set into the walls at a height of 5 feet are amber ledges lined with life-size alabaster statues of cats, frogs, hawks, owls, rats, ravens, snakes, toads, and weasels. Many of the statues have fallen off their perches and lie shattered on the floor. An amber door in the north wall stands open. 4 other amber doors to the west and south stand closed. So the door here on this end is open, and then doors along here and here, and then here, and then down here and down here all stand closed.
I say we go through the open one first.
Okay, so you guys come over and come up this way. And when you look in here, you see something that is, okay, actually, yeah, they wouldn't let the kids go first.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, they kind of wander in over here.
By all means.
Have at it, powerful finger wagglers, as Krenraid would probably put it.
And kind of probably as soon as they round the corner, Van Richten he'll breathe in and he'll say, "Stand back. Evil is ahead." And so these guys
say, "No, evil is afoot."
And he says, "No, Des, I think you might find it differently." And what comes out of here are 4 creatures that are really crazy looking creatures. They appear to be vaguely humanoid, with everything from their face is gone except for a skeletal jaw and mouth and one huge central eye that takes up the rest of where their entire face would be. And they have bony spikes and plates growing out of their backs, and they have claws, and they are they have weird frog-like legs and huge clawed feet, and the wizards say, "Don't look in their eyes. Look away. It's death to look at them."
Fingers on eyes.
Yeah, don't look.
Okay. And then you hear 2 or 3 of them cast some magic, and what I guess let's say this. All those of you who are spellcasters, so that would be Bell, Falazure, and Mulik. All those of you who are natural spellcasters, you have the sensation when these wizards cast spells that the hair on your arms just stands up. Okay, and Des as well. The hair on your arms stands up, and it's like being in the proximity of a lightning strike, where just sort of that static electricity fills the air. The energy of the spells that these legendary wizards cast just sort of radiates out from them when they do so, and it's like a bar of liquid fire, a column of liquid fire that's somewhere about 10 feet in diameter, just descends down from the ceiling and smites these guys, and all 4 of them are just rendered immediately to ash.
Thalor's jaw just drops to the floor, like, my God.
What was the fun in that?
Krenraid was about to say the same thing. It's like, oh, damn it.
I'm just like, I give a little golf clap, so you see Thalor just clapping. Like, that was amazing.
That around the body.
Mulik was getting ready to cast something, and then looked over his shoulder and saw those guys take him out, and was just like, "Hey, come on, man."
And Mordenkainen says, "Yeah, well, you look at those things, and it will literally rot you to death. They're very dangerous." And then Van Richten says, "Something, I have a terrible misgiving. I don't think that's the worst thing we're going to find in there." And so he moves forward, and he opens the door, And anybody who follows him in, you will see what he's talking about. There are 2 of those amber sarcophagi with their dark, the little dark vestiges in them. The 3rd sarcophagus in this place, in the north alcove, has been shattered and lays in pieces. And none of those pieces seem to hold a little dark vestige. And when Tenser walks up and he gets in here, he says, He says, "That's what I was worried about, my friends. Just imagine if we return this place to a normal realm." And he looks at Mulek. He says, "That's why I have concerns." And then he looks at Krenraid and he says, "And if you, Master Dwarf, were to collapse this place down on top of all of these sarcophagi, you would likely shatter all of them, and then all of those vestiges would be released.
And what if
Who
I just
knows?
collapse it on the outside?"
Anything you collapse becomes rubble that people given enough time can clear away."
That's true.
What do these vestiges do?
And they look, or Mordenkainen looks at you and says, "Seriously?" And then he kind of looks and scrutinizes them, and he looks at the one on the west and he shudders a little bit and he says, yeah. That one contains the vestige of Kirad, the Star of Secrets. It is it gives you the power of divination. You're able to scry on targets of your choice for a limited number of times. But the price is that you are rendered permanently blind.
Yeah.
And it's not the kind of blindness that a simple greater restoration spell can cure. It's a blindness that would take the power of a wish. And believe me, you don't want to mess with wishes any more than you absolutely have to. Only a fool would accept a gift from somebody like that. And then he looks at the one to the east, and he says, "Oh, ooh." He shudders. He says, "And that is the vestige of Delban, the Star of Ice and Hate. That would give you the power to unleash deadly cold. It gives you the ability to cast the Cone of Cold spell. However, you can only exist in environments like the one we are currently in. If you go to a climate that is normal, you will suffer the effects of being in extreme heat, which means that you will begin taking levels of exhaustion and eventually die. If you leave any place that is any warmer than below freezing, it's definitely not the kind of gift that any sane person would want." Now, do you kids begin to get the picture of why this place is so dangerous?
Not at all, but I trust that you know what you're talking about.
And So then they will eventually come out of here. Van Richten will come out of here, and they see you guys eyeing those eyeing that door there, and Tenser says, "Well, Mordenkainen, do we want to allow them to open this one?" And Mordenkainen says, "Well, if I had my way, we wouldn't let them touch anything in here, but, they're curious adventurers." And Otiluke says, "Yes, we were once as inexperienced as them, if you recall." And Mordenkainen says, "Yeah, we were. Well, okay. I guess these guys are going to open something anyway, so let's just back up over here. Looking on the other side of the room. You guys go ahead and knock yourselves out. Open it up and see what happens."
I'll run up to the door and try and open it.
Oh, I stop her and I check the door for traps.
Okay, you check the...
What?
Because we don't know this place, and something could be trapping the door, and next thing you know, you open the door and something hits you, it can hurt you. I'm not practicing the arcane arts, but I just want to make sure there's nothing here that can harm us. Well, a lot of stuff here can harm us. Let me alliterate. I want to make sure that nothing in this door, as soon as we swing it open, will harm us. Is there a better way to put it, Bill?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to lose all your fur to a trap, would you? You're walking around a hairless tabaxi.
She kind of goes flush and says, we don't talk about that time, Falazure. Don't, shush." As her ears kind of go down, she finally takes a step back.
I'll give Thaldor guidance as he's checking the door.
Okay, so yeah, make your check, Thaldor.
What would that be, investigation or perception?
Be investigation, because you're looking at a specific area to find if there's something.
Oh, Lord, +4? I better roll that D4. $16.
16. There's something about this door. You can't tell whether it's trapped, but it's definitely got something going on.
I look back at Mordenkainen. Yeah, see, I know you were talking about a 10-foot pole, but I know there's something going on here. Would you mind to take a look at this? I think you might be able to open it quicker than I. Thador's using his charm, just trying to get him to open the door, so I don't get in trouble.
And when you look back at Mordenkainen, even before you start talking, he's got this smirk on his face. And he says, "Oh, well, at least you're smart enough to figure out there's something going on. That thing has a wizard lock on the door. I don't think you're going to be able to get through it."
I mean, I could do it, but, I don't know if I'm as powerful as the great Mordenkainen.
Captain C to the I say that under my breath.
And he says, "Oh, well, if you think you know the trick to getting through a wizard lock, please show us."
He's been called out, so matter of pride. So he walks over and he kind of examines the lock. Does it seem to be of an arcane nature?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I explained that to you because I couldn't get through the door. It's like there's no way I could get through it. It's something magical. It's beyond my realm of expertise.
Have you tried just opening it?
Falazure closes his eyes and He says, "Open sesame," and he casts knock.
Yes, I was wondering if you had that.
Okay. And when you do, there is a resounding woof, 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 that echoes through the entire Amber Temple and echoes off of all the walls. And Mordenkainen says, "Oh, there we go. Now you've just told everybody that we're here. That was a brilliant idea." But indeed, Falazure, the arcane lock, as you know it, or wizard lock, as Mordenkainen described it, is gone. And the door is able to be opened. So, do you guys open it and go through?
Oh, and the door will open.
After you, Thalidor.
Thalidor takes
I move aside.
Thalidor takes his sword. I don't touch the door unless there's a knob on it. I take my sword and I push the door open.
Yeah, there's one of those latches you can use use your sword to sort of manipulate the latch, and then you push it open. And inside, there are in fact 3 of these sarcophagi, all 3 of them intact. And you look in there, and that's all you see.
Yeah, and then I walk right back to the door and said, "Nope, nothing in here, nothing of importance. Nope."
All right, nope. Right behind you.
Lock
Next
the door.
Yeah, close the door back.
Well, hang on. There might be something in here. And Falazure walks in.
Okay. Falazure walks in. So Falazure.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's see. Let's do this.
Acid pours on his head.
Oh no.
No, acid doesn't pour on his head. Falazure, you hear a soft thump on the ground right in front of you. And materializing before you with an enormous greatsword in its hand is a monster. This is a monster that looks like a giant malformed frog demon-like creature with spikes all over it. It's got a huge greatsword in its hands, and it is ready to attack you. And so I'm going to say that because you are walking in here without specifically saying you are ready to face an attack, it's going to get surprise.
Oh.
So the first round of attacks
didn't walk in the room.
The first round of attacks it gets are surprise attacks. So it gets 3 attacks every round.
Oh,
Jesus!
One with its bite and 2 with its greatsword.
Oh boy!
So it will attempt to bite. And it will bite with an AC 11, which misses. And then it will attack with its greatsword the first time. 23, which I think will hit for 12 slashing and 10 necrotic damage. And then its third attack is a 25 to hit for 9 slashing and 7 necrotic damage. So... yes, he's 16 and 22, 38, yeah. Yeah. So Falazure takes 38 points of damage before he can even say, "Hey guys, look what I found." And with that, we're going to go ahead and roll initiative. So, everybody can get initiative. Oh, we will. Let me just double check what I have here.
Oh my God! Every game, dude.
Wow, Mulek.
Yeah, I rolled a 2.
Oh, any crits? Okay.
Oh, you're dead! Holy cow!
Oh, look, it's a frog. Ah!
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah. Anybody else? Oh, I need to roll for the. I'm just going to give the NPCs a single roll, and they're all going to go on the same one since there's 5 of them now.
Well, that might make it easier for you as well.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and we'll let Mordenkainen. Whoops. Oh yeah, that's right. We'll let Mordenkainen have this. Save. And then, come on. This is.
Wait.
And he will.
Hold on?
I have a question. Sorry.
I have a question too.
When he attacked me, can't I use reactions even out of initiative?
Oh yeah, sure. You can use reactions.
Could I have used like
on a surprise?
I will say that at least by after he bites you, the bite missed. Yeah, you know something is doing. So I wouldn't let you use a reaction on the bite, but definitely on the 2 greatsword attacks.
I like
one of the 2 greatsword. You could do that.
Yeah, I would. I can use cutting words on myself, so I would like to use that on that second greatsword attack. If I could have done that, I was just caught off guard by the moment. I didn't even consider.
Sure, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, you get reactions even if your turn hasn't come up yet. District. Okay, so now
surprise round. Technically, no, but it doesn't matter. It's what Gally wants.
Yeah, I mean this thing is definitely not designed to attack a single 7th level character. So I figure you guys need the.
Well, I also have a question. I think I can use initiative is considered an ability check.
It is.
Okay, so I'm gonna chronal shift his initiative roll.
Okay, so target yourself, Falazure, and reroll initiative.
I do believe it's just inspiration dice, just a D.
Oh wait, it actually replaces a D20, right, Mulek? It replaces a D20. It's not like a D8 or a D12.
It forces a reroll. Yeah, he just rerolls.
So you re-roll the d20. You don't add anything to your original.
No, this is for his initiative, not Falazure's initiative, the creature's initiative.
Oh, okay.
I could choose to re-roll mine, but instead I'm choosing to re-roll it.
Okay.
And my cutting word is when he goes to swipe it. When he goes to swipe at me and he misses, I'm like, "Oh, you're one ugly son of a bitch." And that's my cutting words.
Okay.
So -8 or 7, sorry.
-7 from his attack roll or from the damage?
From the attack. I think it's the attack roll, isn't it?
Okay.
Or is it damage?
Cutting words.
Yeah.
It's attack roll.
Yeah, from the creature's attack roll. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you can choose either the attack roll or a damage roll.
I'm doing the attack.
Okay. All right. So you want to change the...
I'll get 22 life back at least.
Yeah, you want to take the 23, reduce that by 7, make it a 16, which will miss.
Right.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you gain 22 back, and then it has to re-roll its initiative. All right. So
good call.
Let's try that again.
A little better.
15. Okay, I think that might have.
That's good.
Yep, that might have automatically updated, and this guy gets dex of that, so it's right. So let's put everybody in order here. Come on. And the first thing that happens is actually your allies. So Esmeralda is going to just run up, drawing her weapon, and get over here near the door. She has to move too far to move and take an action. Tenser will he will go into the room, and he will cast a spell that literally winds up pushing Falazure back 5 feet. And Falazure, because it's something other than your movement that forces you to move, it does not subject you to an opportunity attack.
Okay.
And then right immediately between you and this horrifying creature, a solid blue, shimmering blue wall of transparent energy springs up. It doesn't have any heat, doesn't have any cold, but it just springs up. You can see through it to the other side, and this creature just tries to bang on it and bang on it and bang on it, and nothing happens, because what has happened is that Tenser has cast Wall of Force, and it just springs up there. And Tenser says, well, all right, that should hold it for a bit. And he looks over at Van Richten and at Mordenkainen and says, I can hold it for 10 minutes. It cannot get through there, and I doubt this thing has the ability to cast disintegrate spells. In fact, it probably doesn't have. I don't know if anything that ugly would have the ability to do magic at all. And then the creature bangs on it for a bit, and then sits there and gives a toothy smile at Falazure and the rest of you. The others get in position where they can see into the room, and they otherwise hold their actions. So, Thaldor, what would you like to do?
Not much I can do, except I will move, 30 feet? Yeah, 30 feet. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'll get behind Tenser and just wait, I guess, and see where we're going from there. I'll hold an action.
Okay. Belle, what about you?
Would Falazure make a sound whenever he got hurt? Like, you bitch!
Well, you definitely would have heard this when this thing was attacking him, and he probably would have gone, ow!
Belle would probably go over to Falazure and say, "Are you okay? Like, you always get hurt in the most mysterious ways. Here, let me have your hand." She kind of grabs a hold of it, and she rubs her face on it, and she uses Cure Wounds at 2nd level on him.
Okay. So you get a total of 16 hit points back.
That's exactly my hit point total.
So now, in one round, Falazure goes from nearly dead. Oh, well, I wasn't hurt quite that bad. And, oh, hey.
He blushes a little. Thank you, Bale.
Yeah.
And she kind of bites the tip of his finger just to make him bleed, though.
And the creature that is in there, it goes to, it does indeed start to cast a spell. And as soon as it does, Otiluke will cluck his tongue at it and go, "Not today," and will he'll go ahead and he will counter that spell, which is probably a good thing because this is what it was trying to cast.
Oh yeah, that's helpful.
Oh.
So that thing's spell fizzles, and Otiluke looks and says, "Cloud kill, nasty indeed." And he says, "My gods, is that a death slot?" And Tenser says, "Yes, I think it is." And Mordenkainen says, "Yeah, you see, these crazy kids, you see what they don't get taught? They don't get taught that you don't just go and open locked doors without having any kind of idea what might be on the other side."
But hey, I looked in the room and I walked away and I sat close to the door, but Falazure wanted to go in, so not my fault.
I mean, it looked like an empty room, you know?
And I saw the sarcophagi and I said, "Nope, not for us," and walked away.
And Mordenkainen,
there's nothing else in the room? Like there's no treasure or nothing?
I wasn't going to stand around long enough to find out.
There's those 3 sarcophagi and now an angry demon monster behind a wall of force. But other than that, there doesn't seem to be anything. Krenraid, what would you like to do?
I'm coming, Falazure. I try to walk through the wall.
You bounce off of it. It's like there's kind of this invisible shimmering, and you have pushed against granite, and you've pushed against marble, and you've pushed against basalt and other kinds of stone that you have worked with, and this doesn't have the quality in terms of how it feels. It doesn't feel like stone, but in terms of its hardness and its unyieldingness, this is harder than any substance that you have ever pushed against. And clearly it was something that Tenser did with finger waggling.
I wouldn't understand that kind of combination as Krenraid. So he's very simply going to say, "Get out of here, you coward! Fight me like a man, or frog, whatever you are."
And Tenser says, "It cannot come out for another 10 minutes, and you had better hope." No, I am keeping it trapped in there. And you'd better hope we figure out a way to get rid of it before the 10 minutes elapse, because, we will have a fight on our hands if it does get out.
Didn't you say that these sarcophagi are like really bad, right? And if something like I collapse the building on it or something, it would be bad. What if that thing smashes them?
I doubt it has the physical strength to do that. At least not for a long period of time. And I suspect that it is here more as a guardian. Normally these creatures do not exist on material planes. Barovia may be a demi-plane, but it is a demi-plane severed off from the material plane.
Well, why are you talking about planes? Like, I've seen planes of like grass. How is that relevant here?
And Tenser looks at Mordenkainen, and Otiluke looks at Mordenkainen, and Mordenkainen just says, "I don't know how these guys ever wound up not getting eaten by the first goblins that they ran into. Adventurers these days." And he just sort of shakes his head.
I pass my time. Punching the wall.
Mulek.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and... not that one. Cast Flaming Sphere.
Okay.
And it's going to appear on the other side because it doesn't have to pass through. It just appears in a space, and then I'm going to ram it into it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and put the sphere over here. And then you run it into this guy. And let me take a look here.
That he's got to pass a 16 dex save, or he takes the 10 fire.
Okay. His dex save is a 5. It doesn't make it. And what was the total damage?
10.
10. It hurts it, but it doesn't hurt it as much as you think it would.
Okay. And I am going to move out of the way. 5, 10, 15, 20, so he doesn't see me. And I'd bring my owl over here. And my jackal.
Okay. Des. Oh, I'm sorry, Mulek, were you done?
No, I was going to go click that, but you beat me to it. So
okay. Des, you're up.
Well, excuse me. Oops. No, I don't want to cast that, you dumb thing.
He's resistant to fire.
Okay, so hell.
So I'm thinking Moonbeam doesn't create fire, does it? It's just
nope. It's just radiant damage.
Okay. Let's see here. How tall is this?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't have to have the full height. It just gives you a height in case you are in a 3-dimensional battle. Perfect. And you want to see how tall something is.
So I cast Moonbeam.
A 5-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder. Okay, so we will go to this, and we will have a sort of a silvery outline and a white. Or no, let's go with like sort of a really really pale. Let's go with a really pale. Actually, yeah, we'll go with a really pale yellow color for the inside, and then this is a 5-foot radius, which is a 10-foot diameter. And so you'll center that right on this guy. And so now let's take a look at him. And it's the spell save is a
Constitution.
Constitution 16. All right. And it makes its spell save, so it takes half damage, 15, so it'll take 7 damage. And you see it kind of dodge out of the way, but even for dodging out of the way, it seems to take all of that 7 damage.
Good.
Falazure, you are up. This thing is on the other side of a wall. It's got a fire or a flaming sphere that seems to be somewhat hurting it, a moonbeam that seems to be hurting it. What would you like to do?
How did it appear? Was it like stealth, or was it some kind of magical effect that he just appeared out of it? I mean, what's the deal?
You heard a thump on the ground in front of you immediately before it attacked. So your guess would be it was probably in here and invisible. And when you walked in, it came and attacked you. That would be Falazure's guess.
Would I have to use my whole turn to figure out what the hell this thing is? Or if I know anything about it?
They've already said it's a death slot. And you could make a history check, and if you know what a death slot is, I'll tell you. If you don't know, you would have to ask somebody. But clearly, some of the people with you know what it is.
But that would take up my whole action for the turn. Yeah,
that would be your action.
Okay. I can cast through the wall of force, or no?
Really. No. Well, what you've seen is you've seen spell effects that materialize on the other side of the wall of force appear to work. You haven't seen anybody try to cast something that originates with you and has to go through the wall of force. You haven't seen anybody try that. So if you have something that will the entire effect will be on the other side of the wall of force, that would probably work.
Okay. How about suggestion? Would that be something that's not, that has to pass through? It's more like
okay. That would be yeah, let me take a quick peek here at the suggestion spell, because I want to see some things about it.
It says if it can hear and understand you, then it can be turned.
Okay. So
I have no idea anything about this guy. I mean, last time I tried to use it, it didn't work. So
yeah, I mean, you could try it if you want to. If there's something that will deal damage that operates entirely on that side of the wall of force, you can do that. If you would like to just get the hell out of Dodge and get further out of its range, you can do that.
He can still hear me, right? Probably on the other side of this wall of force, or no?
I'll say yes, because when it grunted and you guys were able to hear it grunt when the fire and the moonbeam hit it. So
all right,
yeah,
I'll cast suggestion.
Cast suggestion. Okay. What are you? Yeah, it always does that.
I misclicked.
Yeah.
I'll say, friend, you should go home.
And you talk to it, and it doesn't seem to have any kind of effect. But then you get a telepathic message, and it seems to be directed both to you and to Krenraid. And the telepathic message to you both promises the way it is going to make your deaths excruciatingly painful, and going to draw them out for not only annoying it, but then having the audacity to try to trap it and then harm it with your puny magical spells. It promises, using all kinds of invectives and insults in its telepathic communication. It makes you, it just promises all kinds of pain and a long enduring suffering death to you both. And it's just the verbiage of the spell. It has to be able to understand you. So it doesn't have your language. Yeah.
I'm punching my own face. There's voices I don't understand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get the hell out of this room.
Okay. So, oops. I'm sorry. I went past the thing. But what I think we're going to do.
We're just having fun.
Yeah, is we are going to go ahead and we are going to leave. We're going to leave the session here, and we will come back next week, and we will pick up this fight from here because we're back to the top of the round, and we will see what the new companions that you all have met suggest that you might want to do here. So, players, thank you guys very much for coming out and playing tonight. Hope you had fun. Ivy, welcome back to Belle. It's good to have Belle back with the party, so that you're able to participate in the games a little bit more. And mark down on your character sheet, Belle, that Commodore has given you advantage. So the next, so basically give Belle inspiration. So when you want,
that was Josephine. Sorry,
I gave her a welcome back gift.
Oh, Dorsaphir. Okay. I didn't. Okay, now I see. All right, Dorsaphir. Thank you for doing welcome. That. All right, and viewers, we appreciate you guys spending a bit of your Thursday evening with us. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's session. I'm going to start the wrap up as I always do by allowing Paul and Michael to tell you a little bit about what's coming up. Paul, I think you have something interesting coming up on Saturday, don't you?
On the Sundays, we've currently got a game on. There is, however, a game that's going to be starting next month on late Wednesday nights. Is there anything going on for you there, Kelly?
Well, no, not on Wednesday night, but I believe last week you were telling us about something that's on the 26th. Is that still on for you? A special thing you were going to be in?
Oh, Mutants and Mastermind.
Yeah.
Yes, I completely forgot. Sorry. So, over on the Plastered Dragon on Twitch, we're going to be playing some Mutants and Masterminds, which is an incredibly fun kind of hero and villain RPG, a bit like D&D, but mixed with Marvel. It's great stuff. And I'm going to be playing a villain in it.
Okay, yes. The Plastered Dragon.
At 3 p.m. EST.
3 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so look for the Plastered Dragon on Twitch. Follow him, and then you can see Paul playing in that game on Saturday afternoon. And then you mentioned there's a game coming up on Wednesday, or the game that you are participating in on Wednesday nights.
Yes, so we have the Action Sturge, which have this incredibly fun dungeon-based adventure.
Okay.
They were always very kind and absolutely insane. I actually had that last night, and I laughed and smiled so much that my face hurt afterwards. If you want to have a good time, and also you can take part too. They actively recruit in their Discord, so it's open for anyone. It's twice a month on Wednesday nights, and they have this wonderful dungeon crawling session where you can just try new characters, try new concepts. You have to try and get through a dungeon. The viewers can put in monsters and give buffs and give curses and things like that. It's complete and utter chaos, but that's what's fun about it. And that's Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. EST. It's the second weeks every month. So we have one last week, this week. So 2 weeks from now, there'll be another.
Okay, wonderful. All right. And Michael, over on Doors of Fear, what is coming up in the next week?
Well, my Friday night D&D game has been put on hiatus temporarily till we find 2 more players. Because I lost 2 players. We will be playing more Sea of Thieves since they added the Pirates Life update with, Pirates of the Caribbean. I'll probably end up playing some more Dark Alliance, which is amazing. Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. And that's pretty much what's been going on lately, and probably will happen again this week, but I have to work tomorrow, so it won't be nothing straight tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, boss is taking off, got a ball game, and I got to work for him, but hey, it's overtime.
Yeah, okay, well, that's good. At least they're paying you overtime, which is good.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and then here on this channel, on the Calibond Twitch channel and the Calibond YouTube stream, we do several different events every week. Saturday night, we will be here for the Saturday Night Greyhawk game. They are exploring the second level, the underground of the old moat house. So they're working their way through the dungeons. They found some unusual allies last week. So you can find the archives of the show over on the YouTube channel and see who wound up befriending the party on Saturday night. Then Sunday afternoon, we are back with the Walker of Waterdeep, and this will be session 100. On Sunday of this week. So this game has gone to 100 sessions. Tonight was session 50 of Sword Coast Chronicles. So this game is starting to, really start to hit its stride now. The Walker of Waterdeep is going along very well, and we do have some special stuff planned on Sunday, so you'll have to join us 2 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday afternoon and see how that plays out. Then Monday night, we will be continuing our Monster Monday session, or Monster Monday show. This time we're going to be doing the Iron Golem. We're looking at the history of the Iron Golem throughout all the various different editions of D&D, and talking about it and where the different origin stories of Iron Golems, and then how they've changed over the editions, and some tactics for fighting against them and tactics for using them as a DM. And then next Thursday night, we should be back here for another edition of Sword Coast Chronicles. So lots of fun stuff going on this channel, as well as the channels that Paul and Michael talked about. So thank you guys for coming and joining us. And now, before we sign off, I'm going to go see if there is somebody from the small streamer community that is doing anything fun. And oops, there we go. And then we will. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. All right. And how about some good old Mario Kart? So Borg's Quest is playing some Mario Kart, so we'll go ahead and raid them. All right, everyone. Thank you all for coming. And we hope we will see you again next week. Remember, over on the YouTube channel, all the archives for all the shows, you can find it there. Good night, everybody.